Hey everybody, welcome to the 6th episode of the Tour Watopia series. Today's ride was a pretty good one. 62 kilometers, uh, 650 meters. The site was actually incorrect. It was listing it as 850. So I was happy to see the 200 less meters today. My legs are feeling good, but not they're not like they would have been on the first day, of course. Now my engine is better and my legs is weaker. Then my legs were better and my engine was weaker. So today we've got a custom route, and it takes us. This is the Gran Fondo route, but we don't do the final section where you see the 88 just there to the east. The road that links that with everything else, we don't do any of these kilometers. So you see, we go out, we tour around, we do a trip up the volcano, again up and around, and then we do the reverse KOM. So the segments today are going to go in order of, we've got this one here, that hilly KOM reverse. So it's pretty plain. It's not a huge climb or anything. We can see here it's categorized. It goes from 7K to 9.6, so it's 2.6K, and there's a 10% max there. So it's decent. And then we do the volcano, which I'll show you in a little bit. But right now, I wanted to take us into the action. We just started off, and this is the downtown Pens. I wanted to show that we leave this area here a little bit different. Every other stage now we've been leaving from Fugo Flats, and then there was the Innisbrook course, of course. But so this one leads from downtown. This is the first one I remembered. The first race Pens. I think the first race I ever did was 2016. It was the Cervelo World Cup or something like that. I still have the jersey in my garage. I have some gems in there. I think if you were to look at every rider in this event, I'm the oldest rider. We all have IDs that Zwift gives you out, and I've never seen one as low as mine. I've gone and looked, but a lot of them were service accounts, demo accounts, test accounts, or they're just users that aren't there anymore. So my number for the record is below 800. So, and I think there's 2 million or so people on Zwift now. So I've been there a long time. So today we're just going to have these 3 segments, and everyone's kind of seeming chill. And again, today I decided to call things out. I figure it's a good way to just stay engaged in the race and not zone out. Sometimes I'm playing too many Jedi mind tricks. So let's look at the volcano again, just so you guys remember what that looks like. So again, this is the corkscrew where we go up and around, and then through, and then continue up and around. It's a pretty standard climb. It's good category 4, so 3.5K, 5%, something like that. Actually, here are the stats here. 3.8K, average gradient 3.2, maximum 8%, 8.8. I've seen 10 in the game. I don't know why this is 8.8. So there's that coming up, and then we have one more, and I'll show you that in a bit as well. So otherwise today, the cheat sheet is pretty simple today. I couldn't get this done until this morning, actually. I couldn't find this route. It's a route from 2018, but they've since put out a new Grand Fondo route. So I found all the other videos, if they weren't over 3 years old, it wasn't this course. So I went through this morning when I woke up, and I found the early European races, and those or easy to follow along. So you can see here, first 3K, pretty uneventful. Then we do the KOM reversed. That's the for climb that I just showed. A little bit of descending, and that's about it. And then we hit the volcano. And today I broke that up into 4. Doing my video the other day, I realized I should call out the fact that those bridges are there, because it is a little bit more of a search. So we've got that KOM, and then there's a sneaky partial KOM. Not to mention, we also have this sneaky dirt riser out of the jungle. We're going through the jungle section again today. So I'm just trying to see where I go today. Last time I looked at the rankings, I was up at 8th, and then, which is great. I'm in my top 10. That'd be wonderful if I could get that as my results at the end. We've got a rest day tomorrow, and then we've got 2 stages remaining after that. So we're coming up here, the reverse KOM, it's coming up at 7K, so there you see it coming up on the left. So this has a slight little drag, then a savage pitch, and then it kind of undulates on. So you got to really stay on the power, and it's the first segment of the day, so I knew everyone was going to have a little bit of oomph in their legs. So I'm trying to stay towards the front, deciding, am I going to stay in my big ring, go to my small ring. I decided the big ring was good enough. Nothing was too steep except for this very first spot, and I just did a major cross chain for that. Not the best thing to do, but, and a cross chain means you're in your big ring on the front, because there's 2 rings on the front, and then you have the 11 in the back in my case. So you don't ever want to be in the big one, which is outside, and then the big one on the back, which is the most inside, because your chain runs diagonal and it's less efficient. I make it through that little first savage punch, and I'm just off the back, but I push, and I get myself right back in the pack, and I'm like, okay, thank God. My heart rate is going through the roof though, spiked up to 171. I did not get a chance to do a very good warm-up today. I think I had 7 minutes before the stage started, and I just got in, did 2 hard sprints, then a minute of just above threshold, and then easy spinning. And I just told myself, save your legs for the day. I did do my massage gun before. Sometimes I find that activates my muscles and activates my legs, or at least I tell myself that's what it does. It's good enough for me. And today, I actually also raced in compression socks. I don't normally do that. It's kind of dorky. We're just coming through here. Everybody's going to surge a couple more times. This KOM finishes at 9.6, so we're just coming up to the banner. And then after the banner, there's a little 1 kilometer descent. We did this the other day when the iPad conked out. This was the exact place we were. So we conked out here. Now this will be what we didn't do, or at least the descent will be, but we're not going to take the same route. Normally on that route we were going to the downtown, and this I don't think we are. Not yet, but I could be wrong. Trying to stay in the front today, but not during the lulls. Want to be as deep in the pack as I can. I'm kind of learning how to best surf through the pack. Before, what I would do is spin and then stop, and then spin and then stop, and it's kind of not very rhythmic. Today what I was doing was more shifting up, shifting down, shifting up, shifting down. So when I was moving towards the front, I would put it in 1 gear easier until I started to fade back a little bit, and then make it 1 gear harder. And then when I started to move forward, easier gear. So I was able to kind of stay right in the middle just by doing that. A little bit more laborious, but I found that it worked really well today. So I'm hoping I can use it in the other stages as well. So we're coming up. The next little thing is 11.9 we just went through, and then now we've got this little punch at 13.9. It's like a tops out at 6%. And while we've got the opportunity here, because there's not much going on, let me show you the other direction of that KOM that we just went through. So this is it in the forward. So you can see it's a lot, well, you can't see it's shorter yet, but it's a lot shorter, but a lot more sharp, because that's this descent that we just came down. So you can see here, less than a kilometer, 5.5 average, 8.2% max. I think again, these are low. I think there's a 10% in there. So that's it in the other direction. And today, I felt like the pack wanted to just ease up a bit. I mean, a lot of people were calling for it, but at the end of the day, I was ignoring it like usual. The people who are racing for overall and GC, they're not going to listen to that. And now I'm starting to recognize names. So the alien rider from yesterday, he's actually in first place right now. So kudos to him. Makes sense why he beat me to the line yesterday. I'm only 4 minutes out, and we've got a time trial left, and we've got another mountain stage, both of which I'm pretty strong at. The time trial, I'm actually reconsidering my bike. I might change my road bike here behind me onto the trainer for that one. It's got bigger gears, and I think I'm more accustomed to that. That's what I use the most. So we'll see. I'm still debating. So we're getting ourselves onto the mountain, the volcano here, starting our way up the outer ridge. So this first section that we're going to be going through, it's shallow, like 4 or 5%, and it's 1.7 kilometers. So it finishes here at 16.1, and then we've got that plateau. And today I'm feeling really good, actually. I mean, you can see where my power is, and I'm staying in the pack, but I found the key thing here was to get in the pack at the pace and then start playing with how much output do I need to have to stay with this pack. Whereas before, again, I was spinning up, slowing down, spinning up, slowing down. But here, I can utilize that same gearing technique, which maybe I should have been doing that all along. Maybe it's an amateur mistake. But yeah, just using that same technique here, and I was able to stay with the pack. Now, don't get me wrong, it was still hard, but look at my heart rate. We can see it's in the 160s, not the 170s. And I think even going up this next section, it stays relatively in the mid 60s. 160, sorry. So there is the first place rider just next to me there in the alien kit. He's Welsh. Tough UK, gritty guy, I imagine. Or maybe not, maybe he's a string bean. Either way, he's a talented rider. 17.3, I mapped out bridge, and I made sure to specify that, because again, any of these mixed surfaces adds about 2% to what the gradient feels like. So in this case, it was a 3. And if I was looking up in my top right corner, I'd be thinking, this is 3. I would be going a little bit easier. But this, I do mental math and add 2. So staying with the pack, right at the front, feeling good. And I know lingering here in the back of my head is the last little bit. There's about a 250 meter section at the end, and that's where it pitches up to the 10%. I know that Velo Viewer said 8.8, but in the game here, I believe you'll see it says 10. So that's what it simulates. Velo Viewer can say 8.8 all at once. So we're just coming up here. The next section, or that segment, starts at the 18.2 here. So you can start to see Power starts to rise. You can see everybody's numbers getting into the 5s. Nobody's going too crazy yet, but there we go. There's some flames. Also today what I did was I used a deeper section wheel. There was an NV 7.8. I noticed a lot of people were using the disc wheel today. Fastest, quote unquote, setup is the disc wheel. It doesn't matter if you're using a road bike or a time trial bike or whatever. And there we go. I just tried to make sure I was with the front pack. And then I was like, you know what? Why don't I give it a little push? I'll just get ahead of everyone on the descent since I'm light. And let's see how that feels. Then you can see my rider. When you get above a certain speed and a certain pitch, your rider does what's called a super tuck. He'll tuck weight right down and put his chest on his handlebar. And it just makes your rider that much faster. And there you can see me doing it there in the front. And then I come up. It's a little bit different than when you're down because you're in the wind. But what you ideally want to do is get in that position when you're not in the pack. And then hit the pack in that position and kind of ride the wave with that position, because then you're getting the maximum. You don't have to do, for me anyways, I don't have to do any watts at that point. And if you do any spinning on your legs, you come out of the super tuck. Or if you go below, I think it's 3%, and you have to be doing 56k an hour. My whole goal today is be with the front pack. After yesterday, I'm really feeling more confident that I can stay with that front pack. Even today, when that volcano climb was ending and they were breaking off a little bit, I just told myself, no, you can catch back on. You got this. You've been staying with these people, and you can continue to if you just put your mind to it. Ate well yesterday as well. Made a video. I've been trying to make little clips and things for the other social media channels. I've never done any of this before. I've never had social media before, like November of last year. It was 2023. And it was all just for this endeavor. So I put up a cooking video in Instagram or TikTok, something like that. I've been putting up like waxing chain videos and all that other stuff. And then I've kept YouTube so far as the live stream and then this commentary long format. But I'm trying to get these shorter and shorter. I'm trying to do 30 minutes. We're going to do that partial KOM, which it's part of the Epic KOM, which is going to be featured in the last day. That's the other big mountain, and it has the radio tower, which has the steepest pitches in the entire game, from what I understand. I think it's got like a 21% there, or 19, something like that. We'll cover that on that day. So basically the partial KOM comes at 30.8, and then in between here and then it's basically just some dirt, a little dirt riser. I think that is the Italian village. I could be wrong. And then we've got another section of dirt and bridges. So the stage is moving along quite well. The legs are just spinning over. Staying in the pack is quite low. I'm able to change angles and take footage from my phone, and I'm listening to another great DJ set, and I'm laughing actually. And at some point, I'm standing up and just not standing up, but like sitting 100% upright with my hands off the handlebars and laughing. Yeah, it was good. I was feeling good, and I took caffeine again today. I didn't sleep early last night at all, but I slept in today to compensate. But the caffeine today after the race didn't give me the jitters, so maybe that was a one-day thing. And I probably took a little bit less today. I took 200 before the race, and then I had 100 in my bottle. And today I had what was left over from yesterday's bottle, which was, there was a little bit because I had 2. And today I used my extra large bottle, which I believe it's 750 milliliters. So here we are up through that Italian Viz. This is a punch that everybody kind of gives it. Again, it looks as 3%, but it's really a 5. I've seen some races tear apart here, and you can see this one is. And I'm thinking to myself, oh no, is this braking? Are these guys getting away? And I do a huge surge. You saw that, like 420. Just to get up and make sure, oof, I'm safe. And this Z rider, he, I think he was the king of the mountain leader right now. We're through the volcano, and we've done the reverse KOM. And you can see we're about at the halfway point, and there's still only one real selection point. But that's not including the sneaky dirt riser out of the jungle. The good news is we get to do that dirt riser in reverse. So we get a big long descent as well. And it's not huge pitches, 3 to 5%. After the stage yesterday, in the Habanero class, we have got Alien Guys #1 and 40 seconds back, another rider. And then the gap to third is 2 minutes and 8 seconds on top of that. So first and second have separated themselves by quite a bit. But from third, which is 2 minutes and 48 back, to where I'm sitting at the end of that stage was 6th. And I was 3 minutes 50 back. That is the general classification. So now I wanted to also talk about the classifications in the race. A lot of people don't know that bike racing, 1, is a team sport, and 2, it's multiple races in one. So everybody here isn't racing for themselves. And you've heard me mention it in the other videos. There's a teammate helping them, It's not the same in Zwift. There are some organized teams. And then there's teams that are just a bunch of riders that all wear the same jersey and participate in the same league, or they might race together. But it's not a big organized thing, not at this level. At the very top levels of this virtual cycling, that's how it works. There are like world tour level riders doing this stuff. And Zwift does, or they did in the past, a competition with Alpecin Phoenix team where a rider goes on this, it's almost like a reality TV show, and they can win a spot on a professional UCI cycling team. So from riding indoors on Zwift, they get a contract to go to the professional on the road in real world. I think there's been 3 seasons now. And one of the riders, I think it was Jay Vine from Australia. I don't think he won. I think he was a runner-up. He's since gone into the peloton, and he's incredible. Riding for UAE, Tadej Pogacar's team. If you don't know these names, that's okay. But these are the top level of the sport. So we just did that partial KOM, or we're just finishing it up here. Because this one's not categorized because it's a partial. No, it'll get points, but I wanted to talk about those other classifications. The team aspect we'll leave aside for now. Just know that in cycling, no one rider can win on their own. 2, in this race, there is multiple ways, or multiple races, I should say. There's a green jersey. This is representative of the best sprinter in the race. Every sprint segment, over every single course, they accumulate points, and those points are all tallied up at the end, and the person who got the most points is the champion of the green jersey. Very similar in the Tour de France as well. Then there is a polka dot jersey, and what this is it's times up the KOM segments. From the bottom of a KOM to the top, all the times are ranked. Fastest time gets the most points. And again, over the course of the race, the people that are accumulating the most at the end wins a polka dot jersey. And then we also know the last one is the yellow jersey. That is the general classification. And what that is from the beginning of stage 1 to the end of stage 8, which rider covered the entire distance in the least amount of time. Tour de France, there's time bonuses and things like that. There's none of that here. So those are the 3 classifications, polka dot jersey and the yellow jersey being one and the same. In this race, you have to be the fastest up the mountains to put any time into anybody. Most of these flat stages, everybody's finishing in a bunch. Again, there's no breakaways. It's hard to put time gaps into people. I'm just trying to stay at the front, keep myself safe, call out all the segments for everybody. I'm doing all the work, so why not share it with people? We're going to come out of this section and do a little loop and then come right back. So the other thing I was mentioning earlier is I took a different wheel set. I wanted to explain that. So in the game, before you're in the actual action, you have a garage. It's kind of like Need for Speed or Gran Turismo. So in that garage, you can have different bikes, and those different bikes have different properties and strengths and weaknesses. So earlier on, I had mentioned Flemme Rouge has opted to give us all the same bike. So you can see this bike that we're all on. It's the absolute basic Zwift in-game. You just signed up Zwift Aero bike. Boom. It's pretty much baked in. And then the only thing we can change here as riders is the wheels. You have a garage and then a drop shop. And you'll see where it says 22.9, there's that number that keeps going up. I'm sure you've noticed in the other video. What those are, sweat drops that you earn from riding. And then those drops can be used to purchase things in what's called the drop shop. And that includes wheels, frames, and then there's TT frames, gravel frames, mountain bike frames, and then each of those have different wheels. I think wheels and frames are the most robust. I think I've got mostly everything in the game. I've been here for so long, I've earned so many points, I just bought everything, which is good and bad, because my garage is a mess. They don't give you a tool to organize it. That would be my one request to Zwift. Like, I want a bike wheel setup that I can just pin, because in some of the races it's advantageous to switch. On this surface, for example, if I was to use a mountain bike, my speed would not drop. Now, I would be as aero as a brick, but not having any resistance, sometimes the trade-off's worth it. And there's mountain bikes and gravel bikes. So gravel bikes aren't as fast as the mountain bikes, but they're more aero. So overall, you might be faster through the section. In some of the other league races, that's a tactic that people use. And having the option to like select a pre-made bike would make it that much faster. And to be honest, what Zwift really should do, when you hit these sections, they automatically change you to the appropriate bike. That would be nice. It would be nice to be able to say, on pavement, this is my favorite bike. On climbs, this is my favorite bike. On gravel, this is my favorite bike. And then in the game, it just automatically changes. That would be pretty awesome. Right now, I'm struggling. Trying to keep my spin high. 93 cadence. Sticking with that front section. And telling myself I belong here. I was 6th coming into this. I do not expect to be 6th at the end of things. I would be blown away, to be honest. But I do feel like I belong in the top 10. That might be proven otherwise, but I'm capable of it. It may not come out that way. It's January, so maybe that's not where I'm at. But I know that I can hang with the people at the front of this. 18K to go. Pretty uneventful now that we're through that dirt riser section. I shouldn't say uneventful. There is a sprint coming up at 50K, which is randomly thrown into this. They should have had more sprint segments, honestly, I thought. But it was a short sprint, and it's the one that we go through that Italian village, come off of the cobbles, and we'll see it here in 6K. But there's that left, and the Zwift KOM, which is pretty short. And I know going into this race, the Zwift KOM at the end, that's everything. That and the volcano climb today. I mean, there's the 3, but the first one is so early, I knew I would be able to keep up with that. But it is a selection point. But I knew I'd be good. The volcano, the last couple times, I was just off of that front pack. So I was a bit nervous for that. But having this renewed confidence, I definitely knew I could stick with that pack this time, or at least I believed I could stick with that pack, and believing is half the battle, if not more. So calling out the sprint for the pack, letting everyone know it's coming. It's only 350 meters. I'm not worried about falling off, but I'm going to stay towards the front anyways, just to be safe. So having said that, back to the Zwift KOM forward segment. So I knew, because it was with about 2K to go, that was going to be the most vicious moment of the day. That would be where Alien Man goes to outer space and everyone else tries to hang on. And you can see Alien Man going off the front here. Now, another thing, at one point, you may have noticed, or maybe it's coming up still. Yeah, I think it's coming up still, actually. At a certain point, we're going around the volcano with maybe about 8K or 6K to go, something like that. We'll see when it gets there, but I was like, maybe I'll just go now. let's see if somebody will come with me. Let's try this breakaway theory. And I ripped off for maybe 45 seconds to a minute, put in a hard push, had 2 seconds, and then the person who came around me slowed down. So they were either gatekeeping for a teammate. So in that event, what'll happen is, let's say if we go back to the team tactics, let's say there's a team with 3 riders in this group, and one of those riders has been designated as the leader. So there's 2 riders taking care of that leader. Somebody breaks off the front. One of those 2 riders will go up to the front and chase it down. And when they get out in front, they'll kind of block and slow down. And that is to close the gap, bring that breakaway back so that their leader doesn't have to worry about anybody being out in front. They'll always chase those down. At this point, I was thinking, because I hadn't broken away yet, I hadn't thought of that yet. I thought somebody may try, but then I decided it would be me. But at this point, in my mind, I'm still thinking, reserve everything for that final segment, that final KOM. Because that's not my forte. My ceiling is quite low when it comes to maximum output. So we're going to come down through this little cobbled section, take a right, and then as soon as we come off the cobbles, we'll go sort of veering left, and that's where the sprint starts. And it'll go left, and you can see I went off the front so that I gave myself some space. And then we're going to go a little bit right here, and then we'll hit a bridge to the left at the end. And the bridge section afterwards, I start to chill out a little bit, but then I see ahead, oh, maybe they are attacking now, because it was strung out quite good. And then I started seeing flames. Whenever I see flames, I react, because that means something is happening, right? Somebody has to push over 8 watts per kilo for that fire to start. So I just pushed, and thank God I got to the front, so there wasn't a gap. After that, we're going to go through the S's at 51.8 here. So this is called the S's because you're kind of going squigglies, and they're up and down, up and down. So this was one of the early sections in the game that was named. It didn't have that name when it was launched. The community gave it that name, which is another cool part of Zwift. Community around it contributes and has helped shape it quite a bit. Going through the tunnel now and headed out towards the volcano. We're going to do a loop around it. We're not going to go up the climb. We're going to stay and loop around the outside. There is a riser at one point, and that's where I try to do an attack, just to see if anybody responds, if anybody wants to go. Because with 8K to go, I'm thinking, hey, if I could get 6 or 7 people and we could break away and start like rolling turns, we might be able to get a 5, 6, 6 second gap. And that might make it so that Zwift KOM isn't really an issue for me, because I doubt anyone would go over it that much faster. Like, I won't have that big of a gap. Or maybe I will. But in my brain, I'm thinking, yeah, 10 seconds would be perfect. And 6 or 7 other riders, that would be awesome. But no such luck. I do try it, though. Here we are going through the volcano. We've seen this a few times. It's a cool scene, just being able to see it. Now, also, the iPad that I use, this is, I don't believe it has the Ultra graphics. It's an M1 iPad Air, but I don't think Zwift has enabled all the fancy graphics, which it's capable of doing, because an M1 Mac does. So it's just an oddity. It must be like an iPad OS thing. You'll see here that we're coming up to this riser section, and like I said, it's around 6K to go, and I am telling myself, let's give a dig. Why not? Last year I did this a different stage, and it was in a different point. Actually, I did it on the bottom of a descent. At the bottom of a descent, I pushed a little bit, and then I got a little gap, And then when we came to the flats, I gave it, and I opened up a little gap and got a breakaway group for maybe 10, 15 seconds, and then the pack brought us back. But it was a good dig. But there you go. I did an attack. I'm over the top. You can see I got a second, 2 second, and then I get another rider coming through. Actually, shout out to this guy. He left a comment on one of my videos. Thanks. And now I'm like, okay, there's a couple people in this pack, but oh, I look back and that's the whole pack. I was hoping that that wasn't going to be the case. I thought we were going to have a little gap. So now that I'm back in, I'm just like, okay, that didn't work. Now it's all just preserve your energy for 60 kilometer mark, which is 3K from now. And it goes pretty fast. So stay in the pack, but stay towards the front. Keep my eye on the people that I know are on the list for the KOM and all of that. The GC, the KOM. Starting to notice some of the names. The rider from yesterday, she's here again. The alien rider's here again. The gentleman we were just talking about, the Neon Zwift, I've seen him now in the Austrian stage, yesterday's stage, in today's stage. So you kind of start to learn and get to know everybody. And there's a Discord where there's lots going on outside of all of this. So there's a couple of different channels that people are communicating and sharing things and content and their experience and funny quotes about how bad it is and terrible it hurts, but why we do it to ourselves. The answer is easy. We're sickos. That's it. So coming down through the village, just gonna have the Watopia sign here on the right, and through the village we're going to go up, and instead of, actually before I say this, I don't think we do Ocean Boulevard. I think we go straight today, and going straight leads us into that reverse KOM. I could be wrong again. I'm wrong a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised. Just checking the angles, seeing how many riders there are in our pack now. We've had all the selection points except for the last one. I wanted to just see what are we dealing with here. There's a little bump here, and I'm actually at this point I'm not even paying attention. I think I was on my phone taking a screenshot, and I did see some flashes there. Every day I've been putting out a little summary video, like 30 seconds or whatever, on TikTok or Instagram or both. I can't remember. Instagram is not the priority right now. The race, the YouTube, the website are taking up a lot of my time, and I didn't know how to do any of this 4 weeks ago. So here's the final KOM. I see the group is breaking off. I know I can't stay with that pace. I knew this might happen. I'm gonna try though. I'm at 300s. We got 300 meters to go, and then it's basically a 2K descent. And I'm pushing 330s, and they're pulling away still. That's hard for me to swallow. And I'm up out of the saddle, and then I'm puddle of mush, and then I'm up out of the saddle. And at this point, I'm like, maybe I can catch them. I don't want to let them get away, because if they get away, like, how much time? And I'm right on the heels. Well, actually, I'm not on the heels because he's in first, but I'm trying to put time into a person in that pack. But my legs gave out, and then I needed a little break. And then after that little break, I start spinning again. And then I keep getting past, and I'm finding myself in 20th, which I'm okay with that. That's fine. There's a couple ghost peppers here, but I want to pass this guy here. So I'm pushing, but he pushes too. If I would have had another 50 meters. It's 20th on the day. Not a bad result. I'm not going to complain about that. It's above what I did on the other two stages where I was in the 40th position. Now, at the end of today, things have changed a bit. The results are out. So I went from 6th yesterday, because of course I had a phenomenal day in the mountains, to I dropped down today. With today's stage, I believe I fell down to 9th. Yeah, GC for least time. I am in 9th place, 4 minutes and 28 seconds back. Not bad. And then when I look at the polka dot jersey, I am listed as 10th with 5,984 points. First place is 62.63, so I'm only 300 points out. That's not a huge amount. I could possibly, if I have a good day on the mountain stage, on stage 8, move myself up to the podium. Between me and third is only 180 points. So getting that classification could work. My green jersey results, they're abysmal. I'm pretty sure I'm out of the top 100. Oh, I'm 97th. But that's shows you where I'm at when it comes to sprinting. So that's it for stage 6. Tomorrow we have got for us a rest day. I'll do a recovery spin, maybe 30 minutes, and then we're back on Tuesday. Thanks everybody. See you in the next episode, and see you on course. Peace.